G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel. As always, promoting my Bonsai Club, Bonsai Northwest Melbourne exhibition coming up on the 14th and 15th of May 2022. Hope you guys can make it. If you're in Melbourne, Victoria, you should be able to drive down if you're in regional Victoria as well. No problem at all. It's going to be a great show. 14th, 15th of May 2022. Footscray Community Arts Centre in Footscray. It's about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes from the Melbourne Central Business District, so it's a nice quick drive if you're close to the city, not very far to go, and should be a great weekend. And I'll be in the sales area. Come and say hello. Happy to have a chat. Alright, today we have another client tree behind here, and here we go. Ta-da! I like doing the big reveal. So this is another tree that I'm working on for a client. Much more advanced tree, really advanced, just overgrown and needing to be cleaned up a lot. I can't really change too much on the tree in terms of totally restyle. Some main issues, or the main things that I'm trying to deal with here, obviously there's some nice shari on the trunk, got to enhance that, got to make it look good. Major issue for me is all the foliages at the back. See that huge branch just sitting there at the back? I mean, I was just contemplating changing the front. You can't even use that. Look at that. That's a mess. So it really has to try and stay this way as the front, and try and use that branch to bring it around and create, bring it right around and possibly plank it into there somewhere. So to usually use it up and enhance it. So there's this very low. You see this very low hanging branch over here. Needs to be worked on. Needs to be enhanced. Probably treat it. I was going to think about treating it as a second trunk, but it doesn't really have the apex it needs, but we'll see what I can work out. It doesn't have as much foliage as it needs as well, so we'll see what happens with this area, but definitely needs to be wired out and cleaned up. Main issues are getting a lot of shari and jin done, cleaned up, with a lot of work on there, bringing that big huge branch around to the side, and bring it right around here into this area to really highlight the trunk more, highlight the shari, and use that foliage to build the tree. The rest, the apex, not too bad. We just have to work on bringing it a bit more forward. It's a little bit backwards. It's a little bit at the back, if you can see. A little bit towards the back. We just want to try and bring it forward. A bit of wiring, this is a really important branch. Bring that right around. Yeah. So first things first. Really, what we do is work on the shari now. Shari and jins. We work through them, clean them up, clean the lines, find the live veins, and I probably will lime sulfur it now once I find all that, so we can have a nice whitish area and spot. So that's where we're up to. Very I think this is just purely, as I said, clean up and wire. Don't position it, no real change. I was contemplating tilting a little bit more, but nah, I'm just going to leave it there. Could go a little bit more with this branch, but I think I'll just leave it there and work on it that way, and we'll see what it looks like at the end. But yeah, first things first, let's work on the shari along the trunks, get all the deadwood fixed up and cleaned up, and then we'll see where we're at. Just a quick update where I'm at. So you can probably see the shari now, shari along here, that's been lime sulfured. It's a little bit yellow still, but it will fade into white. But what I'm doing now is actually starting to wire the tree. They're mainly focused on this back branch here, this back heavy branch. So this really heavy, I've put some really heavy gauge, I started with 6 gauge copper, whatever it is, or whatever works out. Really hard to put on, but should work and support the branch. Then worked away to 8, 10, 12 on the main branches towards the back. So I've only wired the main heavy branches at the back. The reason is I put a guy wire. Here. Along here, let me see if I can show you guys. No. There it is, you can see just there, guy wire. So I'm trying to bring this branch more forward. Now, one of the things that I tried to show last time, I didn't show last time, but I talked about, is when you're on your own, you can't really, but you get to a certain point where you can't really do it on your own. You can't really pull this branch together and tie the guy wire up. So I just recommended one of these clasps. Now I'm going to use it here. Hopefully it reaches. The last thing I'm going to do is, you can tie a bit of wire to get it around. So I've been able to find a spot for it in here, and I've just tightened it, squeezed it a little bit. I know it's a bit unusual shape, but now my hands are free, and I can just tighten this guy wire sure it's nice and tight. Okay, cool. And go again. If I just double check that I'm okay. Keep going. Keep tightening. And the clamp just stays there until you take it off. So now let's have a look. So it's really coming right around now to the front. This branch is coming right around now to the front part over here. We're getting there. We need to put a bit more into it. So I just keep going with this, tightening it because I can't, my strength of my hands won't do it anymore. So I need something to help me. It's a good old clamp. I'm pretty happy now where I'm at with this main branch. You can see it now quite clearly how it's really well defined and padded out, all pretty clean. Yeah, a few tiny final tweaks I need to do, but look at the padding. It's all about the padding and the layers, and you can see how clean, trying to get underneath clean as much as possible. But that's that one huge branch I have at the back. Now, if I turn it to the side, you can see now that's side on. You can see how now it's towards the front. This branch is in front of the trunk, which is good, but it doesn't hide the trunk, so it's not too bad there. Like I like that. I like being able to see that part of the trunk. Still the lower half where the deadwood and the live vein come out together. Really important. So it doesn't look like a tanuki or a phoenix graft. So now it's really nice, and you see the live vein. I know the tail's in the way, but you know what I'm saying. So you can actually see the base, which I wasn't hiding. I didn't want to hide. Now as I come up to here, it's a little bit monotonous here, a little bit boring. So I will try and put some branches in, hopefully in play, just to hide it slightly, just to disguise that bareness. Even though it's a shari, it's not bad to hide a little bit of it and make it look good. I haven't even looked at this side yet. I will, but I'm trying to make sure that main tree is done correct, because then I want to fit this side branch in, or side trunk in, and make it look quite nice and uniform and really complement each other. So I'll leave this for a bit longer. I'm not 100% sure how I want to design this section. I'm thinking, do I bring it up closer to the trunk? I'm having different options. Bring it further down. You know, there's lots of little things that I'm playing around with in my head, but I want to get this all correct. So I'm going to continue working on this part of the tree, the main bit, and then get to this part at the end to see where it's going to fit and land. Okay. So I've been working away, and I forgot to do a lot of the filming because I got carried away doing a lot of the wiring. So we're at a really good point. The tree's coming along really well. Again, you see a lot of the pads starting to develop, especially that. Now you can see the definition of that pad there, and everything else is kind of starting to slot into it. A few final trimmings, etc. I need to do. You can see that I haven't touched the top yet, and I haven't touched this branch yet, because I was trying to create everything around that so I can position this branch and figure out what I'm going to do with it. Tree's looking good, all from all dimensions, nice, and I can't go all the way around, but I'll try. It's looking nice and padded out. It's the same process I've always followed: cleaning out the pads, cleaning out all the branches, and then wiring it and padding them up, fanning it out, padding, make pads, etc. Just like you've seen in my other videos. There's some good teaching ones in there somewhere as well. So we're at a point where still got to do this branch, what I'm going to do with it, how I'm going to position it. Do I create another little kind of a tree, I was thinking, to blend in with this whole tree, or do I leave it as a branch? I'm in two minds at the moment. I do have a preference to try and create a little tree somewhere in there somehow. I don't know how it's going to fit. There's a nice gap for it as well. There's a nice little bit of space in here for it, so it's good news. And then the apex, apex is always tricky, and I keep telling everyone that, but it's just, I'd love to, I want to try and film it. I keep saying that I want to try and film it, but there's no real science, there's no real method to it. Like, you do this. You have to be almost creative. You've got to use branches, maneuver them around, and just keep putting them in the spaces and filling up the spaces. Don't go, you wouldn't cut too much off. What I've got left, I wouldn't cut hardly anything off that. I'll be just maneuvering all that and positioning it layer by layer by layer by layer. Just keep layering, but when you come up to your layers get smaller and smaller, and it just makes a little pad, and then creates the top. I don't know how else to explain it. It's really quite difficult, but yeah, just follow the same process. I do have a lot of back area branching here as well that needs to come forward to really fill in the gap, but I think this overall is the apex. You know, this helmet almost round the semicircle is the apex, not this, which I see so many times in trees. People grow tall ones and fan it out. That's not an apex. That looks like a young tree. You need to make a rounded top, rounded canopy, and using all the branches to do that. All right, so I'm going to get cracking. I'm going to wire all this up, and then I'll see about trying to position it and video it for you guys. Okay. All right, I'm going to attempt to try and show you what I do with the apex. This is looking pretty much front on. It's going to be really tricky, but we'll try. So you remember, you keep trying to pad out, create little pads everywhere. So there's a nice big pad that I've created in here. That's quite nice. I need to probably thin it out a little bit. You just kind of twist it, bend it into shape. Probably the keys are this area here. There's a bit of a gap in here, so I'm going to have to try and drop. So I drop one branch in here and fill in that gap. I pluck underneath anything that's underneath, and I'll just try and position it in that gap. Now the next bit is up here. I'll try and spin around. There's another gap in here. You can probably see my finger. So it's a bit of a sticking up one. So what you do is see how it goes up, and then I bend it down and trying to create a little flat pad. So it was sticking up. So it's sticking up. Then I bent the top of it down to try and create a pad. And I'll just keep plucking things I don't need off it. It's probably a little bit long, so I have to come in and trim it. So I just, if it's too long, I just trim the end of it, which is fine. Make sure you cut where you see a little stem bit, not the actual, just like a hedge. So cut another little layer just there to try and keep filling in the area. Yeah. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got some smaller branches, but I'm going to keep creating up, building up extra little pads as I go. So you start to see how you start to shape them and they start to come up more. Yep. So now we've got this area here, it's cool and looking nice and full. Probably have to do a little bit of trim in here. Just a bit too heavy. It's hard to see when I'm not in front of it. There's this branch here, probably too low. Probably need a bit of wire in there. Just a minute. So we've still got this guy up here. Now, as you probably can see now, there's a big gap in here. So we've been able to create a gap by moving everything around. So now it's a bit of a maneuvering this branch. So this branch will almost fit in right in the middle, so you can see how the top is there on it. Now this is, I haven't wired all these little bits because I didn't know exactly where it was going to go, but now I'll need to go and wire it and get some sort of direction on that. I know it wasn't the best, but hopefully you understand what I meant by starting to put things in place, wire it out. The back needs to also play its role. So you can see the back is also kind of started to do it as well. I'm probably have to tweak it now that we've got some new direction in the front part. Play around with it, make sure I've covered all different levels so it all fills out. So that when it grows, this grows like a real nice canopy and helmet, and you can just trim the long parts as they come up. That's the whole beauty of it. Once you set this up, you should be just be able to go trim the long bits that start to come out and keep it under control. Alright, be back to finish it off.
Alright, so it's taken me a while, but I've fully wired the tree, and this is what it looks like right now, and pretty much completed, without some minor little tweaks here and there that I need to put into it. But I kept this branch, the lower branch, created a nice little kind of a little apex in there as well. Really nicely fanned out. Not sure about the blue pot, but we'll see. But there you go. Come up really nice. I think it's got the layering really well. A lot of good features in the tree. The jins we talked about, the deadwood. Really happy with how this branch came in. I'm a little worried about the health of this branch. Parts of it look a little bit weak. Could be sick, or that branch could be dying. I'm not sure, but it should be okay. But it's come up really good. All up's come up good. Could be reduced a little bit in the top, but I'll have a look at that over the next couple of days, see if I'm happy with it. But other than that, it's come up really nice. It's a really pretty tree. The shari really stands out as well, and the foliage kind of frames that shari, so that's quite good. Other than that, pretty good. I think he might even put it in the show. The blue pot, maybe not, but if you put it in a brown unglazed pot, I think it would be much nicer. But yeah, it could be in the show if you wanted to. Nice tall stand, really look good. Anyway guys, that's really it. Any questions, happy to answer them, just go for it. But other than that, look forward to working on more trees for you. Take care, see you next time.